Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another weekly market review for F45 Trading. We are discussing Monday, November the 23rd to Friday, November 22nd, 2020. The year is rapidly coming to a close here, and so far markets are still kind of stuck. Forex markets, anyway, are still kind of stuck in a bit of a range here. So not much has changed since my last report to you guys last week, but I do want to let you know that several of the key areas were hit that I was talking about last week, so we will review those real quickly, and then we'll talk about what's to come possibly. Just a quick reminder, this week is a short week. It is U.S. Thanksgiving on Thursday, and Friday, I would imagine most of the U.S. will probably be taking the day off as well as an extended holiday. So I could imagine we'll see yeah, as you can see from the calendar, we've got a little bit of news, some FOMC meeting minutes here for the dollar, unemployment claims, and prelim GDP on Wednesday. But for the most part, the U.S. won't have a whole lot of news happening for the week, and they'll be shutting it down early in lieu of the upcoming vacation. So, you know, markets, if they're going to move probably either Monday, Tuesday, and maybe into Wednesday. But I can't see it a whole lot of activity happening Thursday, Friday, with Forex pairs that are linked to the US dollar. So just keep that in mind. Monday's going to be a pretty big day out of the gate for Euro. I think we're finally going to see this catching up to GbpUsd. I'll show you what I mean by that here in a second. And tons of high impact news for the Euro on Monday, coming up here actually at the time of this recording here in about 6 hours or so. And finishing off the day with some pound sterling news and U.S. flash manufacturing for New York Open. We do have some monetary policy report hearings for the pound, and the pound actually just hit a pretty major hurdle as of today, at the time of this recording, which is Sunday evening, November 22nd. It was actually it hit a target that I had anticipated hitting last week. It just hit that now in overnight trading for the Asian range, before markets are actually open, pre-London Open. So that's interesting to note. But again, the rest of the week is probably going to be pretty quiet after this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So if you're going to trade this week, get the bulk of it done in those 3 days if you can. Real quick into the US dollar. We've got price still consolidating. I was hoping to see a run under this low here last week, and we just really saw a sideways week. So again, you know, this is obviously indicative of the results in the U.S. election and why we're seeing this stagnation. If we would have had clear results from the November 3rd election, we would have already seen price really ramping up or down, and you can see we're just still stuck in this range here. We had a bit of a fallout from November 3rd, which was on this day right here, but, well, I should say the 4th, it's always the next day. We had, you know, price run up and then run off the 4th and 5th, but since then we haven't gone anywhere. So I'd like to see them take out this low here. There is a possibility we could see this thing jerk higher before it does. Looking at the hourly chart here real quick, I would mention to you guys last week, price came up and gapped last week, and I said I wanted to see, when I was discussing this, price was down here this time last week, last Sunday. Price then came back up, shot above the gap, and then started to fall off, and I said that I didn't want to see price return back up to this area here again for the rest of the week, and obviously we did not get that. We saw price fall fairly steadily lower until Thursday of last week, where we had price reverse a bit. Still, my line in the sand was maintained at 92.75, so no issues of breaching that, and then we sold off again. So just judging from this pattern right here, looks like they had a nice healthy stop run right here and then sold off. I can't see them not coming and attacking these lows here, and especially we're building up some nice levels underneath here as well too, that you know, should draw price down to. What I could anticipate seeing is a run back up into this consolidation range, possibly back up into this little consolidation range right here. I doubt it'll go that high, so I'm going to put it into here. We have a little gap right there as well, too, to open up the week. I'd like to see that get filled and then price push lower. So hopefully we'll be playing out that narrative this week. And ultimately, I'd like to see price really fall off from there. But to be honest with you, I could imagine what's going to happen is we'll have a real brief retracement under here. You know, maybe 10, 20, 30 pip stop run, and then price will probably shoot back up into the range if they run this at all. We could just run back up into here and price just goes sideways from there all week long, but I think they're probably more than likely going to move price down. So what does that look like? Well, I'm going to talk about GBP first because it hit an area that I was expecting to hit last week. And I think Euro is going to finally run in lieu of that. And you can see here, my call last week, we had Monday open up, come down. I wanted to see it shoot down, close this gap in. We got that, and then shoot higher. This was actually some analysis that I did with my private membership group on the Monday evening before this all happened. Price was trading in here, and I said I wanted to see it come down to 13200 and then shoot up aggressively, and that's exactly what we got Tuesday and Wednesday. And then we almost just fell short of this high. This was the ultimate target rate up into here, and then we just fell shy, and then Thursday was straight back down, with Friday being a real terrible chop you up sort of trading day. And then just again at the time of this recording, we saw price in the Asian range for the Sunday open shoot higher and take out those highs. So this area up in here, in my opinion, has been achieved. Now certainly price could keep on running higher. I think there's no question that we're obviously now in a nice clean, clear uptrend here. Watch out for a deep retracement though. That could always happen on cable with a little bit of price fluctuation. Especially the closer we get to Brexit, which is coming up here in about 6 weeks or so. This is obviously going to get a little more volatile. So if you don't have to trade this pair, I certainly wouldn't. And then my chart's getting a little bit messy here. So let me just clean this up a little bit for you guys real quick here. There we go. That's a bit better. So what I think happened in GbpUsd today, I think will happen tomorrow in EurUsd. And again, I will just bring this in to show you guys, obviously, all of this right here is going to be a big news driver for the Euro going into Tuesday London Open. You can see here on the daily on EurUsd, we've got some equal highs up here. We've got this high here. I don't think we're going to stretch up to this high here. I don't see that as a possibility. If we did get up to that level, US dollar would really have to be sinking, and I don't think we're quite there yet. I think until the election results are all finalized in the court, and when it goes back to the House and they do their decision-making process, because nobody's going to concede, obviously, until that happens, just because there's too much question, into fraud and everything else. And I'm not going to get into that, but I think that we're going to see a staggered price range in the US dollar. I think we're probably just going to bank around in this consolidation area here, or back into this range here for the next little while until that election result has been finalized, and then we'll break free. But again, with all of this news coming on Euro going into London Open, I'm expecting a shot higher up into here, and only because, again, GbpUsd had this nice run above higher into there. I think by default, EurUsd is going to follow suit. So what I'd like to see happen is just a real simple retracement. We have a tiny little gap on it to start the week. I'd like to see them run back down and then shoot higher to take out that high. So that's sort of what I'm looking at going into Monday. As for the rest of the week, Tuesday, again, just based on the news and what the dollar does, could we swing up and take out this high? Absolutely. That would be great if it did. My target is just a small short-term one in here. 20, 30 pips above, I think, would be enough for me if we can get a runner off of here. Watch these lows here, though. They could want to shoot back down, and I'll bring this out here onto the charts a little bit. And you can see that we've got a couple of lows right here. They could want to shoot down for those lows one more time, just to kind of clear out any remaining orders, for those going long, whoever's been trailing their stops up right in here. So keep your eye on this level here. If you see it jam beneath these lows, what I don't want to see them do is go below 118.35. You could call it about 118.35 on the hourly chart here. I'd like to see them maintain that level there. If they do decide to breach that, then they may want to try to run for these lows under here, which just brings us here. And then if they do go further than that, then, all of this here is in jeopardy because they haven't had a decent stop run, in any event right here. We had a little bit of a sell-off in here of course, but ever since this range in here, there hasn't been one. So they're definitely due. But this is what I'd like to see happen, and we'll see if we get that for the start of the week. I didn't see really anything in Euro GBP that got me super excited, other than I told you guys the price is going to shoot down to the 89.25 level. We got that easily. Then it just briefly ran up last week, and then it shot lower. So, you know, if Euro USD is going to have any hopes of going higher, we're going to have to see a half-decent rally on Euro GBP in order to do that. But I also, you know, if the US dollar does shoot lower, it'll just by default bring Euro USD higher. So. Aussie, again, same with Aussie. I told you guys we gapped open to start the week. I said I'd like to see, and price was running higher when I was discussing last week. I said I wanted to see price come down and fill that range in, that gap back in. Did that very easily, but as I mentioned before, you know, markets are a bit tough right now, and so, you know, we got a nice run up into here for about 25, excuse me, it was about 50 pips or so, and my target was up here, and we didn't get the love last week on that, unfortunately, and it shot back down. Didn't go very low, but it double dipped down, and to get out anybody who was running long, and then they shot it higher again. And so, you know, just be careful with these pairs. I'm not super keen on Forex at the moment, just because of this kind of stuff that's been happening. I'd like to see them finally run higher. We do have some Australian dollar news coming out on Tuesday. Not high impact or anything like that, though, so I don't know how much of a news driver it is going to be, but nonetheless, I think I'd like to see them come back down. We may not get any lower than this consolidation. We could start to see price run, but I'd like to see them finally take out this high at 73.40s. That would be my target on the week for Aussie. Okay, so this area down here has been achieved, so we don't need to worry about this anymore. And clean that off the charts, but looking for higher prices on Aussie. Again, watch those highs right into there. UsCad did exactly what I said it was going to do, but again, as true to fashion, as I mentioned before, very unpredictable markets at the moment, because the Canadian dollar is so tied in with the US, and there is no decision yet in the US election. Markets are kind of going to stagnate, and they're going to go sideways, and they're just going to whip around all over the place. As evident was here. I said I want to see price go underneath these lows here. I want to see it run back up and then drop and run back up into this area right here. That's exactly what had happened. However, price ran up a little bit higher than what I expected, about 25 pips higher. And it went once, twice, and then it went down and ran those areas lower, which I expected them to do. And then they went right back up into the range and then right back down in the range and right back in the middle now. And so nothing with UsCad is worth talking about, so I'm going to keep moving on. Do not trade this pair, folks. If you guys are a UsCad trader, do not trade this. I mean, if I were you, I would hold off until the results of this election are figured out, because this thing is going to get whipped around again. That's it for Forex. Moving on real quickly to oil. We had still again a mixed week in oil. Just price very, very wicky in here, really not making a decision as to which way it goes. I'd like to see lower prices personally, so it can finally clear out these areas here and we can get on with business and see oil start trading higher. But with whatever narrative they're coming up in the news, which, believe me, folks, does not drive the price of oil one bit. Okay? This is all algorithmic trading and big institutions moving this price around. And honestly, it's not supply and demand at this point, not with what we're seeing right here. This oil should be dropping, but it's not. They're holding it up for whatever reason for right now. Again, could be waiting for the U.S. election to happen, but we'll see what happens with oil. I'm still calling lower prices, high 20s, possibly to mid 20s, before we start making a rebound. I think it's going to happen before the end of the year, so we'll see if that prediction comes true or not. Gold, again, more of the same, folks. You've seen kind of a bit of a trend here right now. As we're waiting for for these election results to come in, gold is still going to hesitate and be in a holding pattern. And I believe, personally, that we're going to see price shoot lower and then shoot higher up to the 2,000 again. But we're not there yet. Don't be surprised if you don't see another big drop on gold before they start running it higher. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. And then from there, I'm not going to talk about the indices at all. Other than, you know, we made a new high a couple of weeks ago, and a nice little rally early last week, and then price faltered and kind of went nowhere. But I don't know what to do with this information yet. If they decide to finally release the stimulus package, the, what is it, $2 trillion stimulus package here that they're talking about unloading on the market, then it will by default push this index higher. But what you should do is, more than likely, I mean, it's not all the stocks that are going to be moving. It's probably just going to be the top, you know, dozen or so, all the tech stocks, the Amazons, the Walmarts, those guys, you know, Netflix and all that are driving the market. So I would probably, rather than trade this, maybe trade some of those individual ones, but I'll leave that up to you. Anyway, I think we're probably going to see higher prices on this, but we could see a decline before we do see that. So just watch out. Watch out for these lows here. Watch out for these lows here to possibly get run out, okay? I'm not saying they're going to do that this week or anything like that. I'm just saying just watch out for that. And then finally, there was 2 trades that I wanted to talk about real quickly, and I mentioned this to you guys a little while ago, so hopefully you put it into your radar screen, and hopefully you took a trade. But I mentioned cocoa, and this was all given out to my members as well too. I said cocoa was coming up. We made a couple equal highs and price started to decline. We had a bit of a head and shoulder sort of pattern in here, shot right back down, rebalanced in this area, and had a nice little uptrend here. When price was right in here, and this was 2 weeks ago, I said I want to see price come back up and fill this big gap into here and eventually run for this high and hopefully run for that high. And right down here is exactly where I said it was going to go into and then explode higher. And then we had a 7-day straight up trend on cocoa to get the target that I was looking for. Boom. Beautiful trade. I hope some of you guys got into that. I know some of my members got into that as well too. Very, very powerful trade, and target was achieved in very short order. I honestly did not for 1 second think it was going to happen that quickly in that short a time, but man, when the market wants to move, it wants to move in a hurry. So for all those that took my advice on that one, congratulations. Send me a cigar in the mail. I'd appreciate that. The other one that I was looking for was coffee as well too. Very similar to cocoa. Had a nice run up into here. I think there's still higher prices that we're going to see in the cocoa market. I'd like to see it come back down, rebound back into this consolidation area in here, and then eventually start to make a run. And I'd love to see if it can get above this high here. I think that would be just a beautiful trade. So we'll see what we get there. Watch this area in here. I don't want to see price go back down into this consolidation level. So if you see price starting to trade back down in here, this is not a good sign, and we may run for underneath here. But I honestly believe they're probably going to keep shooting this thing higher. So watch this level and watch a rebound for there. So that's all I'm going to give you for free today, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. If it helped you out, please leave some comments. Give it a like, share it out. And by all means, please go ahead and subscribe at f45trading.com. We'd love to see you in the chat room and in the members group. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll catch up to you next week.